For the past few days, the whole village has been on edge because of a pack of ferocious wild boars. From the hillsides, they've stormed down in droves, tearing up the fields and churning the soil into chaos. Their guttural roars echo through the night, making everyone's hearts tighten with fear. When the call to mobilize came, we set out at once, heading toward the green hill where the beasts were hiding. Despite our worry, one thought burned strong in every heart. We had to protect our homeland, no matter what. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, we advanced, tracing every claw mark sunk deep into the soil. Reaching halfway up the hill, the air grew eerily still, so quiet that every sound from below drifted clearly to our ears. Time seemed to slow, every sense pulled taut in anticipation. Look! There! We froze for 10 seconds. The long-range shot was executed flawlessly the moment the target was in sight. Our eyes swept the surroundings again. Fresh shadows to the right were swiftly taken down. The opening move set the tone, an unwavering declaration of our resolve to defend the village's entire harvest. After the victory, our footsteps grew lighter, driven by a surge of new determination. We split into teams, sweeping through every crack in the earth, every narrow trail. Not long after, hold up! 10 seconds! A split-second reaction. Then a gunshot rang out. The massive shadow collapsed instantly. Another lurking threat had been stopped in its tracks. So, what score would you give that move? Before we could even move in to check, a signal came from our teammates. Wild boars were hiding further up the hillside. Following the trail they left, I quickly moved to intercept along the narrow path. A flawless decision. One decisive sound sealed the fate of the lead boar. But the rest weren't ready to give up. In the distance, another team swiftly encircled them, cutting off every escape route. Everyone moved in perfect sync, like a campaign rehearsed hundreds of times. We managed to halt the unannounced attack just in time. As the sun climbed higher, our steps quickened, closing in to flush out the hiding boars. Wild boars, cunning by nature, often lurk within dense thickets. At moments like these, both eyes and ears must be razor sharp, ready for anything that comes our way. It's this heightened focus that made our precise strikes effective, halting every sudden attack from the boars in time. Once again, it affirmed the skill and courage of the hunters on their mission to protect the village's peace. The journey pressed on, when suddenly the hunting dogs caught the scent of their prey. They picked up the trail and surged forward at a terrifying speed. Gunshots, barking, and pounding footsteps collided into a chaotic scene, tense enough to take your breath away. Thanks to the seamless coordination between humans and animals, the wild boars were driven into a corner with no escape. As the dust settled, only calm remained, along with the sense of relief etched across the faces of those protecting the fields. The battle was far from over, yet once again, the teamwork between humans and hunting dogs proved unstoppable. Their determination, sharp instincts, and keen ability to read every sign meant that no target could slip past their swift, precise control. Tonight, the villagers could finally sleep peacefully. No one would have to fear the midnight roars or wake to fields torn apart by dawn. It had been a hard day, but in return came the peace and safety of the homeland. Today's battle was more than just a confrontation between humans and beasts. It was a journey of courage, a testament to the spirit of protecting hard work and life itself. Every drop of sweat, every shot fired, carried a sacred meaning. Across the United States, a silent but brutal war is unfolding. The enemy of the farmers is not disease or drought, but the aggressive wild boars. They plow through fields, destroy crops, turning bountiful harvests into battlefields of ruin, causing damage worth millions of dollars. To protect the hard-earned work of the people, a team of elite hunters has set out. Alex, a seasoned hunter with years of experience, leads his team on this high-stakes adventure. Join them as they embark on this thrilling journey to hunt wild boars. Alex's team quickly split into smaller groups, each assigned a specific task. One group led the charge with specially trained hounds. With their keen sense of smell, the dogs quickly picked up the scent, their barking echoing through the forest, signaling the start of the chase. We made our way toward the hillside, a perfect hiding spot for the wild boars. The team quickly spread out to find their positions. The hounds, meanwhile, began sniffing around, performing their task. From a distance, the dogs began barking. A dramatic chase was underway. The wild boar appeared, charging at breakneck speed. Alex swiftly raised his rifle, firing in quick succession along its path. With steely determination, Alex finally brought down the aggressive boar. It was a fierce battle, but also a reminder of the animals that have impacted human lives. A successful start to the hunt, promising a day full of action ahead. We moved toward the ambush site we had set up deep in the forest. There they were. The second target had appeared. Through modern binoculars, Alex spotted them from a distance. A massive group of boars, tearing through the crops with reckless abandon. At this point, every move, no matter how small, had to be executed with perfect precision. But these wild boars were no easy prey. Boom! A shot hit one in the shoulder. The sound of the gun startled the herd. They charged off at breakneck speed, weaving through the trees, escaping the team's pursuit. The start of today's hunt may not have gone smoothly, but it only fueled the team's determination to eliminate these beasts. On the other side, Jack, an experienced hunter in Alex's team, received the signal and took his position. Anticipating the boar's escape route, Jack chambered around and kept his eyes sharp, watching intently. This time, he wasn't gonna let them slip away. Just then, a boar charged out like a speeding bullet. Seizing the opportunity, Jack pulled the trigger. The first shot missed. But without hesitation, Jack squeezed the trigger again. And this time, the boar collapsed, sliding to a halt on the ground. It was a fierce determination to protect the village, reflecting the will of the hunter standing firm against the destructive beasts. After a midday rest to recharge, the team decided to move down towards the fields in the afternoon. The group was dispersed to sweep through the area and track the boars. Please stay tuned and keep your eyes on the screen. What comes next is sure to be a thrilling display. At this moment, Jack stood on a high ridge, able to survey the entire field. The tension in the air was palpable, like a taut bowstring. Just as expected, Jack chambered around, ready for the shot. Sure enough, from the dry thicket, two boars charged toward the dense grasslands. He quickly locked onto his target, bringing it into close range. Boom! Boom! 2 shots, 2 boars down. In just a few seconds, Jack took down both boars with precision. Inside the lush green field, herons spread their wings and flew overhead. I focused intently on a target just ahead. This was the team's most advanced rifle, with unparalleled long-range accuracy. The moment came. I held my breath, my eyes glued to the scope. My palm gripped the stock tightly, feeling the cold wood beneath my fingers. Boom! The gunshot rang out. The wild boar vanished into thin air, leaving only a cloud of white smoke rising into the sky. The marksman had completed his task, restoring a peaceful shade of green. was time for the team to pack up and head home, but on the way back, Jack sensed a potential target nearby. He quickly moved into position, ready for the final shot of the day. The grass was tall, obscuring part of the boar's body, but it couldn't escape Jack's sights. "It's time. I'll end this hunt with precision," he muttered. With those words, Jack squeezed the trigger. True to his word, in an instant, the bullet flew true, putting an end to the wild boar's rampage. The hunt for the day was over. It was a testament to Jack's skill and expertise as a seasoned hunter, reinforcing the team's solemn vow to protect this land. After many long days of tension, the battle against the destroyers has finally come to an end. Thanks to the bravery and skill of Alex and his team, the threat of the wild boars has been pushed back and peace has returned to the fields. The farmers can rest easy, knowing their hard-earned crops are safe. However, this is not the end. The fight to protect the harvest continues. Stay tuned for the next chapter as we embark on more challenging hunts in the hills with the team in the upcoming episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Many people mistake our work for a violent hobby, but come to Andalusia and listen to the sighs of farmers as they look at their fields ravaged overnight, and you will understand. Here, the sound of our gunshots is not the joyous cry of a hunter, but a response to the destruction, an effort to reclaim peace for lands under siege. We are not hunting, we are on a mission to protect. Join us as we follow today's journey to see this truth for yourselves. Wild boars are masters of stealth, but on this flat terrain, every mistake, no matter how small, will be laid bare. Our mission is to turn their confidence into our opportunity. We are determined to use every skill we've honed to protect the peace that rightfully belongs to this land and its people. At the break of dawn, when the wind suddenly shifts, it carries the familiar pungent scent of the wild. This is when I know the opportunity has arrived. The clever wild boar is darting and hiding behind the reed field. Gripping the rifle tightly, I focus my eyes on the path I've predicted it will take, tracking its flickering shadow. And just at the moment of vulnerability, when it crosses the gap, a single shot decides everything. A well-deserved result for a morning full of patience. But if I had hesitated for just 1 second, if it had slipped deeper into the field, who knows what terrifying things might have happened. In the nearby area, a strong wild boar is enjoying the peace on the field. It makes the fatal mistake of turning its back on the enemy, completely unaware. Kevin immediately seizes the opportunity. His finger tightens on the trigger, and a thunderous shot rings out, ending its carefree stroll for good, restoring peace to the area once again. The midday sun blazes down, and just as David predicted, the wild boar with its thick fur cannot resist the lure of the cool waters in the forest. The first shot strikes its body, sending the beast charging wildly up the bank, its fierce will pushing it to flee. But 2 more thunderous shots follow quickly, extinguishing all hope. A well-earned reward for a morning of patience. Quick reflexes and precise shots, that's what our hunters do best. We get in the vehicle and drive through the hills, as the hunt now shifts to close-range encounters, where the skill and reflexes of the hunters are pushed to their limits. On the windswept hillside opposite, a wild boar stood still, naively believing that blending into the scenery was the perfect camouflage. It was mistaken. In my game, stillness is not concealment. It's an invitation to expose oneself to the barrel of my gun. I calmly locked the scope onto its vulnerable spot. The shot rang out, and the illusion of safety shattered instantly. One of the basic skills of a marksman is hitting the target with precision. The steep hillside terrain combined with the target charging downhill creates an extremely dangerous situation. Its speed is unpredictable, and even the smallest miscalculation can cost the hunter dearly. Yet, John chose to wait, positioning himself to intercept the boar at extremely close range before taking action. When the distance between them shrank to just a few paces, his gun roared, a direct, powerful response that halted the boar instantly. Now, imagine yourself in that position, facing a furious 100-kilogram beast charging straight towards you. Do you have the nerve to stand your ground and squeeze the trigger? As the evening settled in, the tension of the hunt began to fade, but the forest always holds one last surprise. A dark figure suddenly emerged from the slope, as if intent on taking its own life. Without a moment's hesitation, my reflexes kicked in just as the boar had taken a few unsteady steps, delivering the perfect final shot to end the hunt for the day. Nightfall descended, and darkness blanketed Andalusia as the Land Rover Defender rolled slowly along the dirt roads. On the truck bed, the spoils of the hunt lay still, while a sense of relief washed over us. Tonight, the villagers could rest easy. But we knew, tomorrow, new tracks might once again be etched into the fields. And when that time comes, we'll be back on the road. Follow us to catch more of our stories. My grandmother's cornfields on the edge of the forest have been repeatedly ravaged by wild boars at night. Every time, the hope for a bountiful harvest just fades away. No other choice, my family and neighbors decided to organize a hunt to protect our livelihood. Will this trip be successful? Watch until the end to find out. We split into several small groups, moving in different directions to form an invisible circle. Everyone was camouflaged, wearing high boots to prevent slipping, equipped with walkie-talkies, and most importantly, powerful bows. Nick and I headed toward the grassy field where the boars often come out to feed at dawn. I settled behind a rough old tree at the edge of the grassland. This spot was perfect, downwind to mask my scent, and gave me a clear view of the clearing where the boars usually forage. There they are. I didn't rush, patiently watching. The lead boar was aggressively rooting around. The target. Holding my breath, muscles tense, I calculated the angle and distance. I aimed just behind its shoulder, and whoosh! The arrow sliced through the air and struck the beast. Despite the wound, it bolted toward the forest. We gave chase and found it collapsed not far from where it fell. A successful start. Next, the team prepared a bait trap. We cleared a space amid thick bushes and tall grass, placing food to lure the boars. Then we spread out, hiding in the surrounding grass, and waited patiently. Soon, a group of boars approached, distracted by the bait. I stealthily closed in, using the tall grass as cover. My arrow flew true, hitting it cleanly. It ran only a short distance before collapsing. The rest panicked toward Nick's position, and I alerted him to prepare. Nick hid behind a small hill, waiting motionless. The moment a boar entered his sight, he drew the bowstring and released. The arrow struck. The boar staggered, then tried to vanish into dense brush. But the fatal shot had drained its strength. Nick found it lying lifeless moments later. Under the growing heat, we moved to a higher hill covered with thick grass, a perfect spot where boars come to escape the sun. As we arrived, I spotted a shadow moving behind the grass. I carefully crept closer, finding a good angle about 20 meters out. The boar was unaware. Slowly, I drew my bow. Startled, it dashed down the slope instinctively. We tracked its blood trail, and by the hill's base, it had breathed its last. As evening approached, we switched tactics, moving near an automatic feeder the team had set up earlier. This was where wild boars tend to gather at dusk. No more rushing or chasing. Now, patience was key. Some boars cautiously appeared. Holding my breath, I waited for one to show its shoulder, the most lethal spot. The moment came, I drew back, focused every ounce of concentration on the arrow tip. The hit was perfect. The boar squealed, then dashed into nearby bushes. After about 10 minutes, I tracked it down, sprawled out not far from the hit. While hauling the last boar toward the forest edge where the land cruiser waited, two more dark figures appeared in the grasslands. Reflexes kicked in instantly. Without hesitation, I knocked an arrow, drew the bow, and released. The arrow struck true. The startled animals vanished into the night. A hard day's hunt, but a great success. Wild boars are not only a terrifying menace, but also an ongoing threat to the people of Brazil. They destroy crops and carry dangerous diseases. Now they've called for our help to stop this catastrophe. This hunt is not just a mission, it's a responsibility to protect the lives and safety of the community. Will we succeed in stopping this looming danger? Let's see the outcome. As the first light of dawn broke, we had already sealed off the southern fields of Brazil. With a careful scan, I identified gaps that would easily expose our target. Without hesitation, I took off to block its escape route when I spotted a familiar dark figure darting across. Everything was in position, and the shot rang out. Nice! The massive figure collapsed on the field. It was a clear sign of control, marking the decisive start of our battle. We pushed forward into the thick vegetable fields where the tracks of the wild boar were nearly concealed. But this time, their distinct scent could not escape the hunting dogs. Using their signals, we closed in. With perfect timing and a precise shot, we blocked the escape path of our prey. It all happened in the blink of an eye, but the support from the dogs was undeniably the deciding factor in this fight. After a brief silence, the sound of the hunting dogs echoed from the edge of the forest, pulling me out of my focus. Along the narrow trail, the sounds grew louder. My eyes never left the slightest movement around me, body always ready for action. When the target appeared, my reflexes kicked in, as if instinctively programmed. Each sound moved faster than the speed of the beast itself. I could sense more wild boars hiding deeper within the thickets. With years of hunting experience, I knew their nature, always seeking the tangled, hard-to-reach spots to hide. The hounds wasted no time and quickly picked up the scent. We rushed forward, and the massive dark shape appeared right in front of us. Adjusting my aim, I squeezed the trigger, exactly on target. Another threat removed, securing the area. While I was still maneuvering through the dense foliage, Thomas quickly closed in on a new target. As it came into view, a cold, decisive barrage of shots rang out. Despite its efforts to flee, it could only collapse under Thomas's precise aim, our team's sharpshooter. We conducted a final sweep, ensuring no trace was left behind, before packing up and pulling out. Just moments later, the dogs had once again cornered the figures, and we took control. The shots rang out like an affirmation, signaling the end of a dramatic and flawless hunt.
So, come on, Kai.
After last night's storm, the jungle was soaked in mist, damp, silent, and eerily still. Early this morning, our team received a critical tip. A massive herd of wild boars had been spotted right near the ranger zone, territory they've never dared to enter before. Weapons in hand, drones and thermal scanners prepped, we headed in without hesitation. But the deeper we moved into the jungle, the heavier the air became. Off in the distance, the low guttural growls of beasts echoed, raising the tension like a slow booster. None of us knew if this hunt would end in triumph, or if the jungle had something else planned for us. Let the hunt begin. We crept along a narrow trail covered in dry leaves, moving slow and quiet. But it didn't take long. A sharp snort broke the silence. The sound of movement. Boars. Close. Our team leader signaled, spread out and get ready. Each of us took position based on the herd's likely path. Moments later, the beasts came crashing through. In perfect sync, our team opened fire. Bullets thundered through the jungle air, dropping several hogs in an instant. It was a perfect opening. Calculated speed, pinpoint accuracy, and flawless teamwork. As the gunfire faded, the leader called over comms, "Hold formation!" Everything was still following the plan. We had set traps along the escape paths, knowing the wild boar's instincts. They scatter quickly when threatened. Our squad split and moved into flanking positions. I covered the western jungle line. Just as expected, 2 panicked boars bolted straight toward me. I fired. 1 down. This wasn't luck. It was preparation, experience, and knowing the habits of the hunted. The second hog made a break for the tree line, fast. I shouted until my voice cracked. "Cut it off, right side!" My teammate sprinted ahead, intercepting the beast just as it emerged from the brush. He raised his rifle silently, led the shot, and pulled the trigger with precision. A single bullet. Perfect hit. Instant takedown. The hunting hound shot off into the bush, noses to the ground. Meanwhile, we followed at a distance, rifles ready and corners locked down. 10 minutes later, barking exploded in the thickets. I sprinted to the sound and saw a hulking dark mass being circled. No hesitation. I steadied my rifle, aimed, and fired. Another clean takedown. As we double-checked the clearing, we caught a soft rustle from a nearby bush. Something was still out there. I motioned for silence and crept toward the sound. From the shadows, a massive boar emerged, slow, calculated. I adjusted my aim through the leaves. When the full body lined up, I squeezed the trigger. 1 shot, 1 kill. In the jungle, patience and position are your best weapons. Just when we thought it was over, we started packing up to head home. But then, a blur of black streaked across the narrow forest trail. The dogs launched into pursuit, pinning the beast against the steep ridge. No time to think. I took aim and fired into the open. There's no luck in this game, only skill and split-second decisions. morning hunt ended as sunlight filtered through the treetops and our team exhaled in sync. From ambushes to traps to precision dog runs, every tactic was calculated, every shot deliberate. But more than that, we fulfilled our mission, easing pressure on local farmers, protecting crops, and ensuring every team member made it out safe. All operations were conducted within legal boundaries and under permitted regulations.